Ruben Amorim's hopes of a first Manchester United trophy in the Carabao Cup are over, after a thrilling tie in North London ended in a 4-3 win for Tottenham. United had played well in the first half, but a lack of cutting edge in the final third was costing them, and a mistake from Altay Bayindir gifted Dominic Solanke the opener. When Dejan Kulusevski and Solanke scored in the first 9 minutes of the second half, the tie looked over. But United's play and possession had been encouraging all night, and a triple change from Ruben Amorim got them back in the game, along with a nightmare few minutes for Tottenham goalkeeper Fraser Forster. Joshua Zirkzee scored from close range after Forster gifted possession to Bruno Fernandes before Ahmad blocked a clearance into the goal. Another Bayindir mistake, allowing Son Heung-min to score direct from a corner, put Tottenham 4-2 up before Johnny Evans' injury time header made for a dramatic final couple of minutes. Here are some of the things you might have missed at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. United were threatening to get back in the game after Zirkzee's goal and built up a head of steam in front of their own fans. They had been playing well all night, and belief was beginning to return. With just over 20 minutes to go, another corner routine created a difficult chance for Ahmad, with the ball bobbling up at him. His effort was deflected narrowly wide and delivered another corner. It elicited a roar from the visiting fans, and with momentum building, Ahmad sensed the moment, waving both arms in the air to try and get more noise cascading down. The 22-year-old has suddenly become a player who can make those gestures because his work rate matches the kind of effort those supporters would put in. To prove the point, he sprinted at Forster after Tottenham displayed their nerves with a negative corner routine that went back to the goalkeeper. When Forster dallied, Ahmad flew from nowhere to block the shot into the back of the net. As he got the ball out the back of the net, he again turned to those fans to raise the noise. He did it again when Noussair Mazraoui fired a shot just off target, lifting the wing-back to his feet. It was a visible sign of the confidence and leadership in his game. The wing-backs are arguably the key positions in Amorim's 3-4-2-1 system, and for the first time at Tottenham, we saw the potential they have in this shape to combine to cause problems. There might come a time when Amorim wants a more attacking option than the two-fielded Mazraoui and Diogo Dalot, and he might also want a left-footed option. But for now, that duo combined well. Switches of play were the plan against a narrow Tottenham, particularly Mazraoui, going crossfield to Dalot. On a few occasions, that long pass found the Portuguese in space down the left, with space to attack Pedro Porro. It wasn't a tactic confined to the wing-backs, with the midfielders occasionally dropping in to play the pass, and Fernandes sometimes peeling to the left to try and receive it. It was something United had worked on, and it will be interesting to see if it's a tactic they keep in their armoury now. Altay Bayindir has now made 4 starts for United under 3 different managers, and Amorim has kept a promise to the Turkish goalkeeper that this would be his competition this season. Bayindir played only once last season when Andre Onana was at the Africa Cup of Nations, and he has been disappointed in his lack of game time and the fact he has no chance of challenging or usurping Onana as the club's number 1. But it makes those rare chances he does get all the more important, and the truth is the Turkish goalkeeper has rarely looked the part when he does play. He made a mess of Porro's straight shot and gifted Solanke a finish. Then he made a mess of Son's corner, and that was that. A hastily made banner from an unwanted bedsheet appeared draped over the first-tier hoardings just before kickoff, reading, "Excuses, Tar Ra Marcus, M34 Danebank." In this instance, including a location for the orchestrators felt telling. This is Mancunians from Denton, making it clear they have had enough of one of their own. The banner was missed by the cameras broadcasting the game live, but it was evident in the stadium, and images started circulating online immediately. Rashford would surely be aware of it, and wonder how it came to this. An hour and a half earlier, there were plenty of eyes trained on the United players as they made their way to the dressing rooms at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium via the side of the pitch, and not just for those awful leather biker jackets they've started wearing. The fact that photographers didn't see Rashford boarding the train with the rest of the squad at Stockport on Wednesday afternoon was a clear indication he wasn't in the squad. But then Mazraoui wasn't seen travelling to Arsenal 2 weeks ago, but still made the starting 18s. Former Liverpool defender Jamie Carragher believes Lenny Yoro has the right physique to be a centre-back, unlike his Manchester United teammate Lisandro Martinez. Previously speaking on the Stick to Football podcast, Carragher expressed that if he was in charge of United's recruitment, he would have never signed Martinez due to his build. I said this when Manchester United signed him, but I did worry about Lisandro Martinez for his height. He explained Marcus Rashford still has a future at Manchester United despite expressing a desire to leave the club, says Ruben Amorim. It's been a difficult 18 months for Rashford, who has struggled for form. And there had been rumblings that United were preparing to sell him before he was left out of the squad for last weekend's Manchester derby by AMORIM. If I was a manager, I would never buy a defender that small. And the reason being, it's not just him. I like him as a player. And he's got great spirit, he's brilliant on the ball, he's aggressive. But the way the game's now, because fullbacks are almost like wingers, there's not that many big players in your team, so your fullbacks aren't the biggest anymore. I always think for set pieces, your centre-backs sometimes, and even your striker now. How many teams play with a massive player up front? It doesn't really happen as much. Your two centre-backs have got to be, just for set pieces, 6 feet 3 inches, 6 feet 4 inches. So at least you've got those two pillars. Ahead of Euro's debut in the Carabao Cup, Carragher waxed lyrical about the Frenchman's height. He told Sky Sports, "I'm really looking forward to seeing him." He has had bits and pieces with the new manager so far. When he signed, it was almost like Manchester United were doing something different. It wasn't like signing Raphael Varane or Casemiro from Real Madrid, where they have had their best days. This lad's best days are in front of him. You look at the size and the physique of him, he looks the part before we have seen him play. He looks like a centre-back. He looks like he has got that stature and presence. He is in a back three. He wasn't bought originally to play in that system. When you play a back three, no centre-back wants to be drawn into those wide areas, but when you look at those long legs, you think he may be able to deal with it. Marcus Rashford still has a future at Manchester United despite expressing a desire to leave the club, says Ruben Amorim. It's been a difficult 18 months for Rashford, who has struggled for form, and there had been rumblings that United were preparing to sell him before he was left out of the squad for last weekend's Manchester derby by AMORIM. The 27-year-old would go on to admit in an interview earlier this week that he was ready for a new challenge, casting serious doubt on his future at Old Trafford. But Amorim has since stressed that he would like the forward to stay, even though he was once again absent from United's squad on Thursday, where they were eliminated from the Carabao Cup by Tottenham speaking. After the dramatic 4-3 defeat, Amorim was asked if a parting of the ways was best for both the and club and Rashford. But he certainly didn't give the impression that he wanted to cash in on United's homegrown star. He told Sky Sports tomorrow we have training. He will be there preparing for next game. He is a United player. Everyone has a future at Man United. The Portuguese coach expressed similar sentiments in the build-up to Thursday night's match. As well as admitting Rashford should probably have spoken to him privately about his desire for a new challenge, he reinforced that the club still believed in him. "Nothing has changed. We believe in Marcus," said Amorim. "It's hard to explain to you guys what I'm going to do. I'm a little bit emotional, so in the moment I will decide what to do. It's a hard situation to comment on. If I give a lot of importance, it will have big headlines in the papers, and if I say it's not a problem, then my standards are getting low." He added, "I don't talk about the future, we talk about the present. This kind of club needs big talent, and he's a big talent, so he just needs to perform at the highest level, and that is my focus. I just want to help Marcus." Alejandro Garnacho has been recalled to the Manchester United squad for their League Cup quarter-final against Tottenham on Thursday night, but Marcus Rashford was absent as the squad departed Manchester. Garnacho and Rashford were omitted from the matchday squad for the Premier League victory against Manchester City on Sunday and were ordered to train at the club's Carrington training complex on the morning of the game. Garnacho, 20, wore a snood pulled over his mouth and a black beanie hat when he rendezvoused with teammates for the journey to London on Wednesday afternoon. However, Rashford was unaccounted for when the United players gathered at the airport car park and then Stockport station. Rashford outlined his wish to leave United in an interview on Tuesday, having reported unwell for training on Monday. United players were given Tuesday off by head coach Ruben Amorim. The club have been asked for comment on Rashford's fitness. Amorim clarified after the City match that Garnacho and Rashford would be in contention to return to the squad against Spurs. "We have one more training. AMORIM said on Wednesday morning. But it's the same situation of all the other players. If they train well, then I have to make a choice. We will see at the end of training. Of course, I expect a reaction. I expect the best of each player every day, so we will see after training. After United beat City, AMORIM addressed the absences of Rashford and Garnacho. It is important to say why. It was not a disciplinary thing. Next week, next game, new life, they are fighting for their places. But for me, it is important the performance in training, the performance in games, the way you dress, the way you eat, the way you engage with your teammates, the way you push your teammates. Everything's important in our context in the beginning of something, when we want to change a lot of things. When people in our club are losing their jobs, we have to put the standards really high. For that, they have to fight for their place in the team. And today, the team, we proved we can leave anyone outside the squad and manage to win if you play together. I'm going to say, again, it was not a disciplinary thing. It's the small details. You can see the games, like I see, there are some things that have to change. But it is a new life, it's not a disciplinary thing. It's the performance in training, the performance in game, and then I have to change, to choose players. If it was disciplinary, I would say that here, and it will be a bigger problem, but it was not that. It was just that I want to improve my players, and you understand that for so long, for example with Rash, we tried a thing, and it doesn't work. Let's continue to do the same thing, or try something different. So it's as simple as that. If they train well with the talent they have, we will be so much better with them. Both of them. But they have to work hard, they do. Today they trained really hard, so it's a good thing. New week, new life, let's see the next one. Noussair Mazraoui has recovered from a knock he sustained against City to be available for selection. Confirmed United squad members Onana, Bayindir, Heaton, Dalot, Mazraoui, Euro, Dalot, Maguire, Lindelof, Evans, Martinez, Malacia, Ugarte, Casemiro, Fernandes, Eriksen, Mainu, Antony, Garnacho, Zirkzee, Højlund, Ahmad,